Hi, I'm Dr. Crystal Collier, and today we're going to explore our impulse control skills. Remember what the brain researcher says. Kids have a well-developed accelerator, the gas pedal, but only a partly developed brake. Let's take a look at the brain science. The limbic system, where our accelerator is, has a tiny little organ called the nucleus accumbens, right about there. That's our gas pedal. Its job is to seek out things that make us feel good, especially new things. When it sees something new and different, it impulsively reacts without thinking, which may result in some negative consequences, especially before our frontal lobe is fully developed. An impulse is a strong urge to do something that sometimes comes on quickly. Being impulsive is acting without thinking. What's it like to be around someone who has difficulty controlling themselves? Are there any impulses you'd like to get better at controlling? Impulse control, or self-control, is the ability to control your behavior regardless of what you're thinking or feeling. We all know just because we want to doesn't mean we should. But how do you stop yourself? When do you struggle with controlling your impulses? Be honest. What happens when you react impulsively? Researchers discovered that the number one predictor of adult success is impulse control. That makes sense because no matter how much money you have or how smart you are, if you can't control your impulses, you may find it difficult to achieve your goals. But check it out. Researchers at Stanford University created a cool test to measure self-control. They asked kids to wait in a room with one marshmallow and told them that they could earn another marshmallow if they waited to eat the first one until the researcher came back. How would you do on that self-control test? Remember the brain's rule. Use it or lose it. Well, the researchers discovered that the kids who showed the most impulse control and waited to earn an extra marshmallow grew up to have more self-control as teens and adults. As adults, the kids who said no and delayed longer on the marshmallow test felt more confident. They reached more of their long-term goals, including higher education levels. They even made healthier diet choices, had better relationships, and saved more money. And most importantly, they showed more activity in their frontal lobes. So how did they do it? Can we learn anything from the marshmallow self-control superheroes? They followed the use it or lose it rule and practiced their impulse control strategies. Then they grew long networks of brain cells for self-control. But how did they do it? We may not be able to stop the impulse to do something that we shouldn't, but we can ride it out and keep ourselves from acting out. A wise man once said, "You can't stop the wave, but you can learn how to surf." Here's how urge surfing works. When you have an urge to do something that may not be good for you, take 3 deep breaths and slowly count to 4. The urge first surges. It peaks. Then it weakens, just like a wave. Urge surfing will give your brain enough time to pause and make a better decision. But this takes practice. But sometimes we don't think before we act. A recipe for disaster. In addition to urge surfing, we can practice slowing down, pausing, distracting ourselves, using deep breathing techniques to turn our frontal lobe on to give it time to brainstorm for alternative behaviors. Then we can evaluate the best choice and take more mature action. The more you follow the brain's rule and use your frontal lobe's brakes by saying, "No, hold on, wait a minute," to your curious accelerator when it feels impulsive, the stronger it gets. So, what impulse control strategies will you practice to keep your brain strong?